Well, this was a really fun project for me today. I build a number of these loft ladders every year for each of the cabins and tiny homes that we build. I did this one a little bit differently than the others. I usually use our domino joiner, and I thought it would be fun to try something a little bit different, and it was. I truly enjoyed it. I'm going to be building another one next week, another loft ladder that I will use the domino joiner. So if you'd like to see another way to do this or watch another video to maybe pick up some more tips, please like and subscribe, and then I can tell that you enjoyed these kinds of videos and that I should make more of them. So here I've just put my board to represent the top edge of my loft ladder stringer. We're going to call it a stringer. So this edge of the board right now represents the top of where the actual stringer is going to go. So I get this board in here first. Then we can take our bevel set and get the bevels for the top and the bottom to make the stair stringer, cut the stair stringer to fit. I've already done the top and got it marked on there, so I'm going to show you the bottom. So again, this is the top edge of my board, so it's going to actually sit back here, and that's the angle I need to cut it to meet the floor. Okay. It's a little slow one-handed there. Usually I'm a little faster with that. So that's the angle we need to cut on our board so that it sits nicely on the floor. So because I have this exactly where I needed to, I just made a little pencil tick right there, and that's the length. So I've got the length, I've got the top angle marked, and I've got the bottom angle. So we're going to throw that on the kitchen island here and cut it and see how it fits. Okay, so on this side of the board, I marked my length. So now I'm going to pull my tape, measure to the mark. Cool. So the total length of my stringer is exactly 126. That's on the long edge, 126. So now I've got this end of it already marked, so I'm going to go ahead and cut this off. I'll pull my tape once just to make sure that I've got that end marked far enough. That way it can leave me enough room. Perfect. Yep. Okay. We're going to cut this end. Let's see how it looks. Okay, go ahead and measure 126, 10 foot 6 inches. Kind of nice. I'm just making sure I got my bevel set oriented correctly. Mark it. Cut that in. We'll see if it fits. Here we have the stringer sitting in place. I actually modified it once. The angles were perfect and everything was perfect, but I made it just slightly longer so that it cleared the lip. And this is just kind of an interesting detail here, that there's this little lip before the beam. So usually the beam would be all the way out, but in this case I just kept it up a little, and I think that looks just perfect. Perfectly happy with that. So now I'm just gonna throw this stringer on top of a clean board and make a second one. We'll get them both sitting in place and lay out our stairs. Now I'm just going to set, you call this the pattern board, on top of a clean board and trace it right on here. This is also, it's actually the other stringer in this case. I've already set the other pattern aside. So we just mark that one. I'll make 2 quick cuts and, oh, that is so funny. GoPro, stop recording. GoPro, start recording. There are the 2 loft ladder stringers in place. They look great. I'm real happy with it. So what I'm going to do now is get them temporarily fastened in place here, and I'm going to lay out my stair treads. Stair treads. So we're going to lay out how many of them, how many steps we're going to have, and exactly where they're going to go. So now I'm going to draw, hard to see, I'm going to draw this line going all the way up the stringer on both sides, and I'm going to mark it for all the steps. And then we are going to lay out the steps and see how we do here. Gonna be just perfect. Elizabeth's getting up top to start applying finish to the ceiling, prepping it to apply finish soon. Thanks for sticking with me so far. Please like and subscribe for more videos, and feel free to ask any questions in the comments below. Bye bye. Thank you. We are going to lay out our steps here for this loft ladder for a 20 by 30 cabin. So what we need to do, and we'll try to explain it simply, is we know where the loft floor is up there exactly, and we know where this floor is that I'm standing on exactly. We need to decide on a number of steps and a spacing for those steps that puts the steps exactly the same from the bottom all the way to the top when you step onto that loft floor up there. So it's kind of interesting. the top of my stringers are slightly elevated in this case. It's just how I decided to do it here. So I need my steps to go from here to here to here. And I don't need them to start about at the tip. So in this case, we are gonna make a little mark right there. And I'm gonna basically draw a line going down like this, parallel on the board, and that's where we're gonna mark the steps from top to bottom. Instead of trying to mark them along the top edge, which is up here, it's from there to wherever that meets on the floor. So let's see what we can do here to make that happen. The easiest way is to use metric always. I'm out here in Tennessee today and somehow I'm like short on tape measures, so I don't think I've got my metric tape today, which sucks. But we'll see what we can do. Metric is really easy because all you have to do is measure it and divide, and it'll tell you how many centimeters to place your steps. Whereas with fractions and the standard measuring system, it's a little bit more difficult. It is, I'm not gonna lie, a little more difficult. But we'll see what we can do. So basically, it's 1 7/8 inch down. So I'm gonna come down here and I'm gonna mark 1 7/8 inch in. Okay. And like I said, you've got to be perfectly accurate with this here. So now I can measure the total length of exactly where that's perfect, exactly where my steps are going to be. So I got a total length. That's hilarious. So it's exactly 126, which is really, really funny. Because incidentally, that was a measurement we had earlier in the day. And there's no collusion. There's no collusion between those two. That's just a mix, but that's great. It's 126 and a 16th, but I can see I'm a hair high at the top with my tape hooked on there, so we're gonna call that perfect. That's 10'6". So there's a couple different ways to do it. The easiest thing would be every 6 inches. I mean, just dead simple. I have a worry that that's too many steps, but can't help myself but just try it. So we're just gonna go ahead and mark here. It's 10'6" to the floor. We're gonna mark it at 10. We're gonna mark it at 9'6", 9, and that would bring us all the way up to perfect. I think the steps are gonna be too small, and I need to divide by more like 8, or 9 or 10 even. But let's just take a look and just see what that looks like real quick. So I laid the first 3 steps out at 6 inch. I think it's going to be too many steps, but we'll take a look here. So I'm measuring for the length of the tread. It's 22 3/8. Hello, baby. What's up? Huh?
Is it a short half-hour task we can start on?
Yeah.
What is that?
GoPro, stop recording. So I put my first 2 steps in to take a look at it when we divided it by 6 inches, and they were definitely way too small for the loft ladder. I could very easily tell there are way too many. So I changed it to 9. So 126 divided by 126 inches divided by 9 inches is 14. So exactly 14 steps at 9 inches at that angle works out perfectly even, which is great. So I'll try to show you this here. Perfect, thank you. I lost my earplugs. That's so funny. As soon as Elizabeth showed up. Lost them. Okay, go back to work, baby. So, can you actually film this one? This would be great. From like this angle right here. And kind of come in maybe like this. So I'll just hold these steps for you first. So when we divided it by 6 inches, I could already tell there, I'm like, that's too small of a step. And then next one is right here. So what I don't like about it is, I mean, they're so close together that this step is covered by this step. So whereas like this, you're going from one to the next, like this, they're right on top of each other. So we moved it out to 9. There, and then right here, you can see if you look at that, that just looks perfect. You know, it's a loft ladder. You can tell the steps are still a lot smaller than the red ladder beside me, if you look at that. And you can just kind of see, like, that's going to be perfect. So we are going to go ahead and go with it. I know it's perfect. All right, so I have the steps. That's the top of each step marked out on both stringers. I just double checked them to make sure that they're absolutely perfect. If I had one wrong, it would be pretty bad. So I got them all absolutely perfect. Everything about it looks perfect. So I've just started cutting my steps, my treads. I usually put these together with the domino joiner. I did bring my domino joiner, but I've decided for this one that I'm actually going to join it. I'm going to notch the steps into the stringers. So each step is going to be notched in a 1/2 inch into the stringer. Then I'm actually going to fasten it with 3 wood screws plugged. The domino and the glue, the domino joiner and the glue is a really cool way to do this because we clamp it and glue it and there's no screws, there's no fasteners. It's really cool. In this case, I've kind of got wood plugs everywhere. Like this whole thing, this whole hand railing has got wood plugs all over it, so I think it's just gonna go with the flow. There's no reason to. So it's probably gonna take me a little bit more time, but a little less glue, a little bit more work with the chisel, and a little less with the machine. It's gonna be fun, and I think it'll help me get it done today, because once it's done, it's done. I don't have to wait for it to dry and sand it or anything. So let's see how we do here. So here I have my 2 stringers sitting on the table. You can see the stairs go right there. So now I'm gonna get set up to start notching these stair treads into the stair stringers. I got a pile of treads cut right here, real nice and beautiful. And we're gonna get started. Now I'm going to chop out all these notches for the stair treads and the loft ladder. We're just doing it with just chisel and a nice heavy hammer today. I've completed the notches for the stair treads and both the stair stringers, and they just look great. It just looks absolutely perfect. So now we're gonna drop in the stair treads, and I'm actually just going to drill and countersink screws to fasten them in place. And in just a few more minutes, we're going to be close to having a loft ladder here. We're down to the last 2 treads. We've got 10 installed and 2 more to go. Or 11 installed and 2 more to go. So we countersink and drilled 2 nice star drive screws into each tread, and it just looks awesome. I am super pleased. It's really stout, strong. I think it just looks sweet. So I'm gonna go get my last 2 treads, and we're gonna finish this loft ladder up and set it in place. Ah, it looks good, doesn't it? Well, we're looking great here. Here I've started on the sanding and the routing of the edges. Turned into a great loft ladder, just perfect. So I'm gonna go to lunch, then I'm gonna put in all the wood plugs, give it a final sand, and we'll get some finish on it and hopefully get it in place today. Here we're making the wood plugs to cover up the fasteners in our loft ladder. So we got a fuller plug cutter on the drill press. And the main thing when you're cutting plug is to just take your time. You don't want to go too fast. You want to go kind of slow so the plugs come out smooth. So you just want to take your time and then go kind of slow and clear it a bunch of times, and then your plugs will come out really smooth and they'll go into the plug holes very easily. It's really raining out here today. It's pouring right now. Got a bunch of wood plugs made up and we're walking back over to work right in the middle of a rain squall. Here's the 20 by 30 cabin that I'm working on here in Teneke Springs. We've got our plugs all made up here in this board, and we just take a small slotted screwdriver and you just break the plugs out of their holes. There's a few different ways to do this, but this is usually all I do. Spruce is kind of a stringy wood. So there we've got a real nice wood plug. So we always put them in so the green of the plug lines up with the wood. You just get it barely started in the hole. And I'm not even going to glue these in because they're such a tight fit and because they're such a deep plug. So you just got to give it the gentlest taps. If it goes in straight, you're good. This one's going in good. If you squish the plug with your hammer, you need to go ahead and get a new one. So you just got to be really gentle and just tap them in all the way. Perfect. I've got all the plugs put into their holes. We're nearing completion here in this loft ladder. I need to bump off the plugs, give the ladder a final sand, apply the finish, and it will be complete. Let's go ahead and get started. Well, here we have it. Loft ladder installed in the cabin. I'm super pleased with it. It looks great. It's just basically ready for finish. I got it sanded. I'm gonna do a little bit more hand sanding, but real clean. It works great. It's really easy to go up and down. I'm super happy with it. Just looks great. Well, this was a really fun project for me today. I build a number of these loft ladders every year for each of the cabins and tiny homes that we build. I did this one a little bit differently than the others. I usually use our domino joiner, and I thought it would be fun to try something a little bit different, and it was. I truly enjoyed it. I'm going to be building another one next week, another loft ladder that I will use the domino joiner. So if you'd like to see another way to do this, or watch another video to maybe pick up some more tips, please like and subscribe, and then I can tell that you enjoyed these kinds of videos and that I should make more of them. Thank you so much. Bye bye.